Ladies and gentlemen, the sole genius behind the Ares system, my son Brent. The applause was deafening and relentless. I stood frozen in place as my father Edward handed the microphone to my brother, a gambling addict who could not code a single line of software and had no understanding of the technology being praised. Edward leaned in close to me, his smile fixed and polished for the crowd, and delivered the blow that erased 10 years of my life. "Do not make a scene, Mia," he whispered, his voice cold and precise. "You are just the mechanic. Mechanics do not get equity. Now smile, or you will not even get a severance package." I did not scream. I did not cry. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my security badge, and set it gently on the mahogany table. It made a soft click that nobody heard over the cheering investors and clinking glasses. Then I turned around and walked out. I walked past the investors, past the champagne, and past the $1.2 billion worth of technology that, unbeknownst to them, was about to become very expensive paperweights. Before I tell you what happens when a mechanic decides to stop fixing the engine, drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from, and whether you have ever had someone take credit for your life's work. I sat in my 10-year-old sedan with the engine cold, listening to the muffled bass of celebration music thumping through the concrete walls of the parking garage. My name is Mia. I am 32 years old, and for the last decade, I have been a ghost. Inside that building, they were toasting to the future of Ares MedTech. They were celebrating Class 3 robotic prosthetics that could allow a paralyzed man to run a marathon. What they did not know was how those machines actually worked. They did not know that every single line of code, every safety protocol, every compliance log, and every system safeguard carried my digital fingerprint. My brother Brent, the so-called architect, could not even spell compliance. He was a gambling addict who treated company accounts like his personal casino. I spent my 20s cleaning up his messes, fixing his mistakes, covering his tracks, and making sure our technology did not accidentally kill someone. I worked 18-hour days repairing errors, rewriting faulty code, and signing safety logs because Brent did not hold the required license. I was the safety net that caught him every time he fell. You might ask why I stayed. Why I let them use me for 10 years. I asked myself that question every night when I drove home alone while they vacationed on trips I paid for. The truth is not simple. Psychologists call it the trap of normalized cruelty. My father Edward did not break me in a day. He chipped away at me slowly and methodically starting in childhood. He taught me that love was conditional and transactional. He taught me that my value was not inherent, but functional. I was valuable only when I was useful. When I was 12 years old, I won the state science fair and ran home holding a blue ribbon with pride. Edward did not even look at it. He pointed at Brent, who was crying over a broken toy car, and told me to fix it. He said, "Your brother is the statue and you are the pedestal. Without you he falls, so do not you dare move." That was the lesson. I was not the art. I was the support structure. I was not the star. I was the gravity keeping their world from collapsing. They trained me to be invisible. They trained me to believe that being the good daughter meant setting myself on fire to keep them warm. They assumed that training would last forever. They believed I would fade quietly because pedestals are meant to stay still while statues take the glory. They forgot one thing. When you remove the pedestal, the statue does not just look less impressive. It crashes and shatters. I looked at my hands. These were the hands that wrote the code. These were the hands that protected thousands of patients. These were the hands that held the only real key to the kingdom. My phone buzzed in my lap. The screen lit up with a notification I had received every single day for 3,600 days. 5-page. The daily automated prompt from the Ares Central Server. Biometric handshake required. Level 5 administrator authorization needed for daily operations. For 10 years I had pressed the green accept button without thinking. I pressed it on holidays, during weddings, while sick, while grieving, and while being ignored. That button was the leash that kept the billion-dollar system running safely. Edward thought he stripped me of my power when he took my security badge. He forgot that the company was built around licensed oversight. I pressed decline. Authorization denied. Emergency protocol initiated. On the live stream, the robotic arm froze mid-motion. Alarm sounded. Investors panicked. The system locked down exactly as designed. Edward called screaming. He demanded passwords. There were none. It was biometric. My biometric. Without me, the system could not legally function. When the authorities were called, the truth surfaced. Compliance laws were violated. Logs revealed fraud. My audits proved innocence. Their lies collapsed under federal review. Handcuffs moved from my wrists to theirs. 3 months later the company was gone. Seized, liquidated, bankrupt. Brent went to prison. Edward lost everything. I started over with my own firm, my own license, and my own future. His power was never real. It was borrowed and fragile. I walked away for the last time knowing that sometimes the only way forward is to let the wrong system collapse and build your own from the ground up.